The winners of the Cromwell Pole Award would be Ashley Tucker for round 1 and Kiriki Hitsuno for round 2. As we all know, this race was supposed to be the second race of the season, but it was called after Mark Freestone's unfortunate near-fatal accident. And from what we've heard, the track promoters were not happy with ARLA's decision to end the race early, and so they wanted it rescheduled as the penultimate event. Fortunately, the cars were slowed down a bit for this race. The last time we were here, they were topping out at about 220 miles an hour, but during practice, the highest speed reached was about 207. This was a result of the new Superspeedway rules package, which puts tighter restrictions on the teams in how they can set up their cars. Under this new package, the cars also have a lot less grip than they normally do, which means that some people have to check up in the corners, particularly at the entrance of Turn 3. And that's helped to break up the packs a little bit. And now we will hand it off to our special guest this week, Dan Mullen from Channel 44.
Thank you, gentlemen. Glad to be here. Ashley Tucker and Edwin Schwartzlowski made up the front row. Kevin Monroe, last year's champion, and Ricky Navarro made up row number 2. As you might have noticed, M&J and Riggs Motorsports cars take up the first 2 rows, and in row 3 are 2 MRD Motorsports teammates, Kyle Gaffigan and Joseph Howard, a former Master Cup champion. Ashley Tucker has 2 victories in her rookie campaign, including the rookie shootout at the beginning of the season. That's a rather interesting event where only Rookie of the Year candidates take part, and Tucker was victorious in that event. That's Kevin Monroe in that green and black 63 making a move on the inside of Tucker, and looks like Monroe is hugging the paint a little bit, and Ashley Tucker is going to get a bit of a run on the outside with a little help from Schwartzlowski, and looks like Tucker is going to hang on to the lead. And there you see she goes down on the inside, abandoned Schwartzlowski. Some people may not consider that too courteous, but anyway, Tucker is going to lead the first lap of the race. Siju Dejao in car number 91 ends his race after the first lap. Car number 91. This is, typical of Kurt Walker Motorsports. No race weekend appears to be complete without a Kurt Walker Motorsports car blowing up, having any kind of mechanical problem, or anything of the sort. They haven't had a good year so far. Kyle Gaffigan, the MRD car, is making a bid for the lead. Car number 37 making it 3 wide. Whoa! Almost makes contact with Monroe there. But Leslie Riggs in that 50 car is really making a run for it. Leslie Riggs' career was almost ended at the Master Cup race at Daytona last year. Riggs has made a great comeback, and here she comes for the lead. Car number 50 on the inside, the former model, is making a run for it, and Riggs has led the lap. Leslie Riggs, car number 50, has moved into the lead of the race. The number 50B car for Riggs Motorsports. She is having a fantastic run so far, and Riggs takes over the lead, and that is Monroe behind her. And Riggs and Monroe go up in the middle, but Joseph Howard in car number 17 has cycled to the front of the pack. Joseph Howard has not had as much success in ARLA as someone with his credentials should, perhaps, but then again, he is driving for MRD Motorsports, and they have a habit of firing their engineers the moment something goes wrong. And it's not really a surprise that Howard hasn't had that much success when the team is too busy firing people. It's a wonder people actually apply to work for MRD Motorsports as an engineer, quite frankly, because, job security is a foreign concept over there. Let's go have a look at Howard's teammate at MRD Motorsports, Kyle Gaffigan. He just got hooked by Ricky Navarro up into the outside wall, and over goes car number 37. Gaffigan for a wild ride in the back straightaway. The number 37 Nemoto in it, that's Bigsby Foote in the 14. Foote just got hit from behind by Namimura in that green and white 39 car. It's another one of the Kurt Walker entries. And we're watching that 39 car right now. She goes to the outside, and what is she doing? Namimura just comes hammering into the 14 car for no good reason at all. Wow. The yellow lights are on. That usually means caution. There's probably something going on the track. Allie Riggs, great save to not spin that car up, but same with Ashley Tucker. Tucker was on a one-way trip to that inside wall, but she's apparently so caught up with that excellent save that she forgot what the mirror is and almost took out the 74 car of Bobby Porto, former series champion, driving for the Mitchell & Sons team. Edwin Schwartzlowski leads the battle off of pit road in car number 66. Schwartzlowski is really a trailblazer here. He's the only driver in the field with only one arm, but he's doing a pretty good job under the circumstances. And Joseph Howard's 17 Fernando's chicken car has blown up. Rather unfortunate for the MRD Motorsports driver, but as I mentioned earlier, when you keep firing engineers, you, well, generally don't wind up with the cream of the crop on your engineering team, and that's just evidence of that. As you can see here, Bobby Porteau in car number 74 is leading the race. That's a very questionable pit strategy for the Mitchell & Sons team. He didn't stop under this caution. The rest of the field stopped, and, well, they'll only have to stop one more time, and he'll need to stop twice. So unless he gets some yellow, he's really going to be in trouble here. Porteau's got 2 wins this season, but crashes and mechanical problems have really kept him out of the title hunt, and he's probably got some left side damage in that car. I'd at least come into the pit road and get that checked out. But how about this? Leslie Riggs in the 50 car is going for the lead, and she's going to take it rather easily. Great drive by Riggs so far in that 50 car, and that is Mariano Zavala in the 47 car, who's working with Riggs to go up to second. But Riggs is leading the race after her career was nearly ended on a super speedway last year. She's back with a vengeance. Carla DiPreto, another one of the MRD Motorsports cars, is to pit for a cut tire on lap 12. Wonder if they're running too much camber in that 26 car. Anyway, DiPreto has been fairly impressive so far for MRD Motorsports. It'd be interesting to see what he could do with a team that actually knows what they're doing. Dale Hill is running for the Bobby Dollar Racing team in that 098 car. Not a whole lot of not to look at in that car, but Dale Hill has let his results speak for himself. 2 top 10 finishes in a limited schedule, including 6th at Mosport in torrential conditions. So, I'd say that there's a fair bit of ability from the man behind the wheel, if not with the livery designer. Edwin Schwartzlowski is leading the race in that 66, as you can see. When this race was called earlier in the season, Schwartzlowski had led most of that. So clearly Edwin Schwartzlowski must have brought his old setup, and it's working for him today. But Dale Hill going for the lead now. Zavala in that 47 car continues to impress, and that is Bobby Porteau right there as well. Zavala has landed the ride at Xenos because of, well, government money from his home country of Venezuela. That's really sort of helped fund his entire career. He's been pretty strong at the super speedways and that 47 car, and so this run really isn't that much of a surprise, especially after his stellar run at New York. But everywhere else, not many people have had good things to say about him. Mariano Zavala has very little experience, however. We'll see if he can improve here. Zavala's teammate, Leigh Gruel, in the 46 car is cycling to the front of the field. Xenos has had a pretty tough year in just about every category, and Leigh Gruel has had bit of a hiccup there. I wonder if he just got bumped the wrong way by his teammate, or whether or not he just lifted off the throttle. But Gruel having a lot of problems coming in turn 3, and I see Schwartzlowski into the pits. Schwartzlowski into the pits, emergency stop for a cut tire on lap 18. Again, same thing with Carla DiPreto. I wonder if that's just running way too much camber and wearing out the tire way too quickly as a result. Carla DiPreto has blown up in the same lap, and well, I said that MRD lets way too many engineers go, and then they wonder why they have so many mechanical failures. Well, anyway, DiPreto out of the race. Paul Lyons in the 54 car is being caught by the leaders, and as you can see, I don't think he's aware that they're actually there. Paul Lyons has not been terribly complimentary of his spotter, but at the same time, Paul Lyons' super speedway record leaves a lot to be desired. During his tenure as a full-time driver in the TM Master Cup Series, Paul Lyons is not exactly known for his spatial awareness on the super speedways. However, I've heard some horror stories about the spotters at Team Burr, so I would not exactly dismiss Paul Lyons' claim that it was the spotters' fault, especially after New York, where Lyons appeared to be caught completely by surprise that the leaders were coming on him. So I believe Lyons' claim after New York may actually have some truth to it. In other words, ship some ADD medication to Team Burr. Edwin Schwartzlowski in car number 66 is running with the leaders and that 66 car, but if he's on the lead lap right now, so if he gets a caution, he can cycle all around to the back and he's back in the race. But I think some of the other leaders are having a bit of a problem with him. As whoa, Leigh Gruel way out of shape there, the 46 car. He just slowed up real quick in order not to spin that thing out. So Leigh Gruel, there's something wrong with the rear end suspension on that car, I believe. Patrick Henderson, car number 11, that slow 11 car on the inside. He gets lapped, and he immediately dives into the pits on lap 28. Some people believe that this team start and parked that car because once he came into the pits, he never came back out. Tiffany Matthews is running back in 15th. She's leading a smaller group of cars behind the main pack. Tiffany Matthews has had a habit of blaming anything that happens to her to bad luck. But she's contending for a top 10 finish in the championship, and Matthews, I believe, deserves some credit for that, if nothing else. There's a reason that Lynx wants to test Matthews for their Team Lights effort. Anyway, Bobby Porto, car number 74, is pit on lap 29. That alternate pit strategy has come back to bite him. Looks like bad luck, once again, is going to hurt the Mitchell & Sons team. And really, this is a very inexperienced team, despite being owned by the Mitchells. That puke yellow car with white numbers is Lucas Sweeney, car number 8. Maybe a little hard to read the number on that car because they couldn't pick two worse colors, it looks like. Lucas Sweeney is in that car. His father is two-time ARLA champion Paul Sweeney. Paul Sweeney is third on the ARLA win list with 29 ARLA Elite Series wins. Ali Riggs, Mariano Zavala, and Andy Pearson, as you saw, just hit the pit lane. We're on lap 33. But anyway, Paul Sweeney has done a lot for this series. He's brought several races onto the calendar, and he's done a lot for this sport. Nick Howard blows up in the Lastro Autosport car on lap 34. The 58 car was not exactly running very well, and that kind of explains his whole season. What are you doing? Keep that thing on the apron, son. Keep it under control now. It shouldn't be that hard to keep a car under control unless you're having an oil leak. Anyway, it looks like most of the cars in the lead pack are going to pit on this time by, except for Ashley Tucker. That might be a bit of a mistake on Tucker's part. Car number 57, there you see most of the leaders in. Edwin Schwartzlowski has cycled back up to 5th place. He is in a battle for position here with, I think, every other car in this shot. You'll notice Mariano Zavala, the 47 car, in here as well. Ali Riggs, car 19, leads the race. So Schwartzlowski's pit strategy has gotten him up towards the front of the field. However, he needs a caution badly, unless he'll have to pit under green and he'll lose all that ground again. So Schwartzlowski, car number 66, hoping for a caution, but he's also hoping that he isn't the caution. Edwin Schwartzlowski's racing luck has not exactly been very good this year. The battle behind the leaders is for 6th place. Lawrence Burr leads this pack. Now, Lawrence Burr is another second-generation driver. His father, John Burr, won here back in 1996 in one of the biggest upsets in the series history. John Burr is rather infamous these days because, yes, that's the same John Burr who runs the infamous Team Burr. Lawrence Burr does not have a full-time ride next year, but I believe he has a contract with M&J Racing. I'm not sure in what capacity, however. Could be a part-time ride in a fast car. Could be just what he needs to revive his career. Jennifer Goodwin's in this pack as well, and she's racing with a broken hand, so talk about toughing it out. Goodwin finished 9th at New York last week, but I'm not sure what Jennifer Goodwin will be doing next season. Jennifer Goodwin has run in TM Lights before, so it's a possibility she could be headed back there. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. As expected, Edwin Schwartzlowski pits again on lap 40. He doesn't get the caution that he was looking for. So, Schwartzlowski into the pits, and he is, going to lose all that ground that he made up. Lawrence Burr in the Griesberger car had to make an emergency stop on lap 44. Unfortunately, he was running in contention for a top 10, so he's going to drop well down the order. And it's a shame we haven't seen more of Lawrence Burr this year. But Griesberger Racing is closing down at the end of the season, so we'll have to see what's going on for him next year. The leaders have caught some of the slower cars, such as Lenore Scurry in the 15 car for Green Racing. She's been off the pace all day, which isn't really a surprise. She was reprimanded after New York because she threw debris on the track and brought out a caution. So I don't think too many people were very happy with Lenore Scurry. And there's Rachel Rainsford up there, that white and green 171 car. She's going to be staying with Gravity Racing for next season after she's done very, very well. Rainsford put an impressive string of top 10s in the latter half of the season, but clearly that's not happening today. She's set to be married at the end of the season, and she could be running under her married name next season. We'll have to wait and see what she decides to do about that. But Rainsford very graciously moves over for the leaders as soon as they catch her. And Ali Riggs and Taylor Brillin, the two winners from New York, are now battling for the lead with 5 laps left in the event. Ali Riggs, car 19. Taylor Brillin on the outside, car 65. And you see they have, Edwin Schwartzlowski is racing with the leaders. I'm not really sure why he's doing that at this point. There's 5 laps to go. You should probably drop back and just let the leaders battle for the win, but I don't think courtesy is something in Edwin's vocabulary at the moment. I don't really get why he's doing this unless he's just getting Riggs out of line. And here's a whole wall of lap cars, and Paul Lyons in there, and so are several other cars who are way too slow to be on the track. I'm not sure if these cars here are battling for a position. If they are, anyway, they've just cost Ali Riggs the lead, and Mariano Zavala of Venezuela goes to the lead of the race. Zavala, the driver who's in this series only because of sponsorship money more than anything else, has shown that maybe it's not all about sponsorship. But anyway, Le Gruel takes the lead from Zavala. Of course, they are teammates at Xenos. Gruel has not won a race since 2009. Coincidentally enough, that's also Xenos' only win in ARLA to date. So clearly Gruel is trying to add to Xenos' win count here. He's trying to double it in this case. Gruel and Brillen are trying to break away from the rest of the pack, and it looks like they're succeeding in doing so at the moment, which is kind of hard to do at a super speedway. But if they keep racing side by side like this, the rest of the pack is going to catch them. Mariano Zavala in car number 47 has a choice. Does he go with his teammate, or does he go with Brillen? He chooses Taylor Brillen. He abandons his teammate's bid to win the race in a bid to win it for himself. Mariano Zavala clearly a bit more of a racer's racer here. He's not being a very good teammate, however. Leslie Riggs is running up in 6th place with just 2 laps to go. So Leslie Riggs in car number 50, the B South Carolina, is going to have an awesome run today. That South Carolina for Riggs Motorsports. And who's that in the inside there? That's O'Reilly, I think. He's hopefully he's not going to spoil this awesome run that Leslie Riggs is having. Thankfully he doesn't. And Riggs is able to clear him quite easily. Taylor Brillen is in the lead in the white flag. That blue car is Bobby Porteau. He was in 13th before he had to make his second stop, as mentioned earlier. Allie Riggs, Mariano Zavala squabbling over 2nd place. Allie Riggs having a great run. Allie up to 2nd place, and that is Leslie Riggs' sister there, Allie Riggs, car number 19. And Taylor Brillen leads the race, though, in car number 65. Is Allie Riggs going to have a run on Taylor Brillen? But here comes Zavala. Zavala clears Allie Riggs, and Mariano Zavala of Venezuela is going to have a run at the win here. Taylor Brillen better hold him off if she's going to claim victory here. Mariano Zavala looking for his first win of his ARLA career. Is he going to be able to do it? Brillen doing a good job defending the position, and Taylor Brillen does enough to hold off Mariano Zavala. The second time these two have finished 1st and 2nd in a row. They were 1-2 in New York, and they're 1-2 here again at Talladega. Spirit cars make up the entirety of the top 5, with Taylor Brillen, Mariano Zavala, Ashley Tucker, Allie Riggs, and Le Gruel making up the top 5. Great runs by the Xenos pair and by Allie Riggs in car number 19. Leslie Riggs, though, in 6th place at the end of the race. Paul Sweeney's team had a great run there with Lucas Sweeney in 8th. Casey Campbell in car number 10 in 8th. Nikos Kostopoulos, another solid run. And Dale Hill, pat in the back for the little guys over there at Bobby Dollar's team. They had a great run today. Round 2 sees Kiriki Hatsuno and Michael Madrigal on the front row. That is Harry Essenola and James West on the row 2, but James West is trying to win this one in the first corner. He's going 3 wide in that black and yellow 69 car for Carl's Racing. And oh, there's a spin! West gets into Madrigal. Madrigal back up the track into several cars. That's Rogers almost into the wall there, but that's Scott Dodds, the teal car. Laura Cyrus gets a big piece of that. Herbie Finkelberg and AJ Young. Laura Cyrus, one of the championship contenders, the only autistic driver in the field. Car number 102. Laura Cyrus just needed to get a good finish out of this, but I don't know what James West was thinking. Just came barreling in here like it's the turn one, like it's the first corner of the last race of his life, and he just punts poor Michael Madrigal. He was playing games with Harry Essenola on the start. Now, I know if there's one person I don't want to be playing games with, it's the sergeant over there, because Enola certainly does not take too well to any sort of shenanigans like this. And I don't think the people at Motor Assault Racing will be taking too kindly to this. We watched the entire race for Laura Cyrus, the Voltso car for Motor Assault Racing. They were trying to win the championship. They're trying to chase down Ebenezer Quiggles in the points tally, and it's a shame that their title run is ended by some idiot trying to win the race in lap 1 at Talladega. It's not a track where you need to really be aggressive on the start in order to get track position early. So I just think James West is driving way over his head and just making an idiot out of himself. Kiriki Hatsuno is leading the race on the restart, and it's rather unfortunate that James West, the cause of that caution is didn't get any damage from that, because he's running in 4th, as you see there. 2nd place is Kellen Rodgers, the 86X car. Now, Kellen Rodgers has had a bit of an identity crisis. He's running just about everywhere, but he can't seem to find a permanent home, and I think that's really going to hurt him in the long run. Kellen Rodgers, the 86X car, kind of has an identity crisis as a driver, can't pick one series to race in. Unfortunately, the day ends early for Bob Steffens and the Big Bunny team, as the 211 car goes out of the race on lap 10. I believe they dropped a valve on that car. Can't get a confirmation on that, however. Nobody has been able to challenge Kiriki Hatsuno in the MRD Motorsports car until right now, because Kiriki Hatsuno just cut a tire at the start of lap 11. Car number 6 is going out of the apron, and I do wonder what they're doing over at MRD, because they're wearing out tires quicker than anyone else. Anyone should be anyway. It's their last hope to get a win this weekend, and that faded pretty quick. Harry Enola has inherited the lead of the race. Enola is a very no-nonsense driver, and he is going to join a very no-nonsense team, because he's going to join Peter Irving Gray's team for their maiden ARLA Elite Series campaign, and I think they need a no-nonsense man like Enola to help get that team off the ground. The battle for second heating up because Alex Carson has just taken over second place from Kellen Rodgers, who surrendered that way too easily. However, Alex Carson is going to have to try a little harder if he wants to get the lead away from Harry Enola. Enola, former U.S. Marine drill sergeant, really brought those skills he learned over in the Marines and really shaped up Riggs Motorsports. Alex Carson's going to have the move for the lead, but he's got some help in the form of Sealander Ebenezer Quiggles Jr. in that black Division by Zero car. He's the highest running of the championship contenders, and his main challenger, Yevgeny Kuznetsov, for the title, is running back in 7th. So I think Kuznetsov is going to have to pick it up, because Ebenezer Quiggles Jr. has been fast everywhere. Fluffy Penguin Onionburger has figured out the new ARLA cars quicker than anyone else, and it shows. Anyway, Alex Carson, that 93 car, one of the underdogs I feel in this series, probably could have won a couple of races, but that hasn't happened yet. Jessica Graham is going a lap down on lap 14. That's a little early to be going down a lap, I think. As you see, she's holding a line, but it's not really the right line you should be holding. Paul Lyons in round 1 held the middle, but he quickly learned you're supposed to go to the outside rather than just making this a 1-lane race instead of a 2-lane race, which is probably what it should be. Jessica Graham and the S-Tech team, she was joined in the Japan tour by her team owner, and if I remember rightly, her team owner was very, very fast, whereas she wasn't. Ebenezer Quiggles Jr. took advantage of that situation and is now leading the race. That is his main title contender right behind him, Yevgeny Kuznetsov, and I don't think Kuznetsov and Quiggles Jr. have been on track at the same time at all during practice. The FPO squad was very wary of Rus Autosport during all the practice sessions. Kuznetsov himself is a very, very skilled driver. However, there's been some questions whether or not Rus Autosport is willing to play fair to win this championship. Anyway, back a little further is Alex Carson, car number 93, as he's coming back to the front again. Carson's having a great day so far, and the last time he won a race was all the way back in 2009. But Alex Carson has just sort of been kept out of victory lane by bad luck more than anything else. That 41 car right there is normally driven by Greg Woodard, but this week it's Jack Dempsey behind the wheel of that car. And Dempsey's doing a great job in Greg Woodard's place. He's trying to make a peek for the inside. Jack Dempsey, he's mostly known for hosting a wildlife show in Australia, but that show was canceled by rather irrational protests as far as I understand. I'm not sure what the circumstances were but anyway, he's back here in motor racing and doing a good job. Jessica Graham getting lapped again on lap 24 and showing no courtesy. Jack Dempsey, you saw there, faded to all the way to the outside, anticipating a crash. That might have been the smart thing to do, because Jessica Graham is turn 5 around here. No courtesy at all by Jessica Graham, or that entire team for that matter. So really, I don't know why they're keeping that car on the racetrack. I don't know why she hasn't been pulled off the track for not being fast enough. Or do they even have a spotter up there? Because, oh my goodness, get out of the way already! Jessica Graham, car number 59, showing no courtesy at all. Ebenezer Quiggles Jr., as I mentioned earlier, leads the championship, and he's going to pad his points lead quite extensively if he stays where he is. And Jack Dempsey having a run on, that's Eric Jackson right there in that 3 car. But Quiggles Jr. hits the pit lane on lap 26. Is that a bit early? It's Jason Bates pitting with him in the 51 car. Most of the leaders pit the next lap, with a few exceptions, as you can see. Could be a very crowded pit lane here, so I think Quiggles Jr. might have the right idea if by pitting early he avoids any pit lane shenanigans. The few cars who haven't pitted yet do so the next time around, and these guys here are going to have a relatively quiet pit lane. And here is Ebenezer Quiggles Jr. Yes, he apparently did have the right pit strategy, passing Mike Andrews in the 500 car to take over the lead of the race. So the Division by Zero car resumes where it left off, in the lead. However, his championship rival, Yevgeny Kuznetsov, is not exactly having the best of days. After a horrendous pit stop by Rus Autosport, Kuznetsov fell very, very far behind Quiggles Jr. So it's kind of a nightmare for Rus Autosport. They really needed to reel in Quiggles Jr., who's kind of at a stranglehold in this championship so far. Quiggles Jr., though, has 5 wins this year, so it's really no surprise that he does. The rest of the pack is catching up to Quiggles Jr., who had a massive lead after that pit stop cycle. Eric Jackson, that 3 car, having a good run. Mike Andrews, Lane Cranston, that green car, are chasing him down. These are some guys we haven't really seen much of. Well, Lane Cranston has kind of picked it up in this latter half of the year. The beginning part of the season, Lane Cranston was a weapon of mass destruction. However, lately he's really cleaned up his act and he's picked up the pace quite significantly. So I'm very, very impressed with Lane Cranston. Mike Andrews in that 500 car runs in TM Lights, and well, we all know how his season's gone over there. Lane Cranston and Eric Jackson are easily having some of the best runs of their seasons. Well, I'm not really sure what Eric Jackson is doing next year, but he ran in the top 5 in points for quite a while. But as the season winds down, he's sort of disappeared as Rachel Rainsford sort of steals his thunder over at Gravity Racing. Jacob Eicholtz in that 231 car is getting in the way, and okay, Jacob Eicholtz holding up 2 lanes at once. Is that a new record for today? We've gotten 1 lap car holding up 2 lanes at once. That has to be some kind of record for the day. Maybe we can see if one of these lap cars can hold up 3 lines at once. The courtesy of some of these back markers, or rather the lack thereof, is just astounding. Lucas Flint currently runs in 8th place. His abilities on the road courses can't be denied, as his podium result at Elkhart Lake proved, but he's taken to this speedway business pretty well. So has Lucy Barnton, that red 149 car, the Ildest car. She runs in the ARLA Truck Series, and she's contending for another top 10 finish as well. Flint going backwards a little bit in, I believe, car number 56. The 88 car right there is the second Rus Autosport car being driven by Lev Azarov. During the drivers' meeting, I remember sitting in on that. The teams were told not to use team orders in order to mess with the championship contenders, and ARLA boss Jen Walker was looking directly at the Rus Autosport drivers Yevgeny Kuznetsov and Lev Azarov while she was saying this. So clearly Rus Autosport is under the magnifying glass, because they had apparently been planning to use team orders to affect Ebenezer Quiggles Jr. However, it looks like the lap car of Jessica Graham is trying to help Quiggles Jr. out, because as you just noticed, she held up the whole lead pack and let Quiggles come flying by on the outside like a star in a bad racing movie. Jessica Graham, car 59, I think is a little out of her depth today. I wonder, did she leave her brain at home? Because I don't think she's making too many friends at the moment. This 59 car, I think, can be safely called Turn 5 on this 4-turn course. Anyway, she's being a little bit more gracious. Oh, we got Kiriki Hitsuno in trouble again. Running 4 laps down, she has another mechanical problem. I wonder who's going to get fired at MRD Motorsports this time. And frankly, if MRD Motorsports goes and fires these engineers, are they going to be able to replace them? Because I can't imagine anyone would want to work for MRD Motorsports because of making one mistake, or fear of making a single mistake. Alex Carson is proving to be a big challenge for Ebenezer Quiggles Jr. as they fight through this lap traffic. Quiggles Jr. is known for his abilities at navigating through traffic, but Alex Carson's got the better of him this time, because he's gotten through the lap cars, and he has Kellen Rogers and James West, the first lap nutcase, going with him. Carson, car number 93, as I mentioned earlier, has not won a race since 2009, but he's definitely going to be a threat for the win today in car number 93. He's having a solid run so far, and here comes Kellen Rogers and James West as they make a move for the lead of the race. Kellen Rogers and is going to get held up, though, by Philip Borland, who has other ideas. Borland is getting in the way and making a bit of a nuisance of himself at the moment. And now Carson has a clean track in front of him. That's David Krikorian he just had to get by. Lucy Barton and Kellen Rogers hook up to make another run at Carson. Kellen Rogers clearly not done with his challenge for the lead. Lucy Barton having a good run, though. Whoa! Carson throws a block, nearly wrecks himself. Thought better of it. And Kiriki Hitsuno, car number 6, is on pace to the leader, so the MRD Motorsports crew looks like they got that car fixed. But Alex Carson almost took himself out of contention there and almost took himself into the wall. Lucy Barton now going for the lead, the 149 car. Now, why did Kellen Rogers give up the inside like that? Lucy Barton's getting help from Kiriki Itsunu, who's several laps down, and really I don't think should be racing with the leaders at all. Should probably just move out and let them all go by. And Barton goes to the outside. I'm not sure whether or not they're trying to leave Kiriki Itsunu in the dust or what, but okay, Kiriki Itsunu can just go by the leaders and continue to be a nuisance, because it doesn't matter if Hatsuno gets a caution or not. She's going to need several yellows if she needs to get back into contention for just about anywhere important. Lucy Barton, that 149 car, holding outside. Jacob Eichelt's kind of in the way as well. Alex Carson, car number 93, having another go at the lead. James West in the 69 going with him. Alex Carson abandons. James West tries to get some draft off the lap car of Kiriki Hatsuno to hold off the challenge of James West, the Ohio native. But as you see here, Alex Carson now comes back down the inside. He is following that 6 car around the track. And here is bad news for Kuznetsov. That is Quiggles Jr. putting him a lap down. Actually, Kellen Rogers is leading the race, but regardless, he's now a lap down to his championship rival. And that is not what the Russian driver needed in order to help his title hopes. James West going by. Kuznetsov, I think, can just see that championship, his championship hopes, what little he has left, dwindling away unless something happens to Quiggles Jr. Scott Dallitz is horrendously slow, as, has been sort of an on and off thing. Sometimes Scott Dallitz is fighting for wins, other times he's, nowhere, and clearly he is, okay, well, at least he's holding a line, unlike some of the other back markers we've had today. But, he's still holding up 2 lines at once in that 18 car. Okay, not quite. He's holding up 1 line now. But car number 18, Scott Dallitz, is that Cletus McGuffey going by him in the out? Yes, Cletus McGuffey just went by him on the outside in the back roads car, a car that has an engine that the team claims is made out of scrap parts they found on the side of the road. Ebenezer Quiggles Jr. makes his second pit stop with just 6 laps to go, and took quite a long time for me to say that name with a straight face. Anyway, Quiggles Jr. into the pits, and someone else into the pits with him. Can't really make out who it is. However, I saw Quiggles Jr., he gets a speeding penalty. ARLA officials have just informed us that Ebenezer Quiggles Jr. has gotten a speeding penalty. I'm not quite sure how Quiggles Jr. was speeding when the car that came in with him came in faster than he did. So, we'll have to see what the ruling is on that. Richard Scott has blown up rather spectacularly after a pretty miserable day on lap 54, so that's just kind of putting him out of his own misery. Alex Carson holds a large gap over Ebenezer Quiggles Jr. as the pit stop cycle out. Quiggles Jr. is running in second, but he's going to have to serve that speeding penalty for the end of the race. Quiggles Jr. and FPO were protesting this call. However, I'm not quite sure they're going to have a whole lot of luck doing so. Quiggles Jr. in that black Division by Zero car is going to have a run on Alex Carson. This is actually for the race lead. So Quiggles Jr. is challenging Carson, and now he goes around the 93 car. Quiggles Jr. is going to try to move back into the lead of the race. I'm pretty sure that Quiggles Jr. knows he has to serve that penalty, because I'm not sure that protesting it is going to help too much. But anyway, Quiggles Jr. moves back into the lead of the race, and clearly FPO is out to make a statement, because I don't think Carson fought that nearly as hard as he could have. Quiggles is taking the white flag, but he has got to serve the penalty, this time by. So the Division by Zero car, clearly, this is going to be one that got away. He slows up behind Scott Dallitz. He is pulled in behind Scott Dallitz. I'm not sure if this is Quiggles Jr.'s way of telling Carson he can go by now, because he's pitting this time or what, but Rip Tyler, Lane Cranston are fighting for third, well behind the leaders. We're going to have to see if Quiggles is actually going to come in. I believe he will, because I believe he caught up to the slow car there in order to let Carson go by, because, he's pitting this lap. Yes, Quiggles Jr. is slowing down. He's coming on, and he is going to serve the penalty, but he clearly made a point that he had the best car today. Quiggles Jr. is going to take his speeding penalty, while Alex Carson, with Quiggles Jr. out of the way, is going to cruise home to his third ARLA Elite Series victory in controversial circumstances. However, that's nothing to take away from the great job that Carson did today. A hard-fought victory for the American. Pearson Sweetie Motorsports takes home a win this weekend, so they can all pat themselves on their back. Great job by that 93 team. Rip Tyler second, Lane Cranston solid run in third. James West, despite causing a first lap, pile up out of complete stupidity, comes home in fifth. Lucas Flint has a great job in the 056 car. Lucy Barton, Eric Jackson, Lev Azarov gets a Roos Autosport car home in the top 10, and so does Harry Essenola in car number 45, bringing his Riggs Motorsports number 45 car home in 10th place. And now let's have a look at the Drivers' Championship leaving Talladega and entering the final race at Rockford. Despite that bit of showmanship at the end of the race, where FPO left Quiggles Jr. out in order to, prove a point today, they still hold the championship lead and they have no intention of protesting the speeding penalty. Smart. Rip Tyler second, Yevgeny Kuznetsov in third are the only drivers eligible for the Drivers' Championship, along with Quiggles Jr. entering Rockford. Laura Cyrus and Bigsby Foot would have been in contention, but they were taken out way too early on by other idiots. Andy Pearson, Leslie Riggs, Libby Bell, Tiffany Matthews has had a pretty strong couple of weeks in this series, and Rachel Rainsford in the Gravity Racing 171 car make up the top 10 in this year's ARLA Elite Series Drivers' Championship. I predict there will be a pretty good battle for 5th place in points at Rockford, because that battle between Foot and Pearson should be pretty good. Here's 11 through 20 in the championship. Ashley Tucker up to 11th. Alex Carson with his win up to 13th. Eric Jackson been in free fall for quite a while. Bobby Porteau, former champion. Lane Cranston's really improving in the 114 car. Casey Campbell, Lucas Sweeney, Paul Sweeney's son. Rybert Scott in that 33 car I think deserves a bit more luck. And Scott Dalitz in car number 18 rounds out the top 20 in his own Dalitz performance car. Scott Dalitz will be taking part in a drifting competition during the Rockford weekend, so we'll be very excited to see what the Dalitz performance guys can bring to that track for that competition. Dalitz is a very accomplished drifter, and hopefully he won't be able to showcase those skills during the ARLA race, because he'll need to qualify, as will everyone else, for the Rockford 200, the final race of the ARLA Elite Series season.